Wouldn't it be great if you could ask your data anything at any time? Like, how are sales this quarter? How's the new marketing campaign performing? What does the overall health of the company look like? And actually get answers right away with charts and graphics and actionable information. You can with Domo's AI and data products platform. Domo lets you channel AI and data quickly, securely, and innovatively to deliver measurable insights wherever and whenever you need them. Anyone on your team can use Domo to easily prepare, analyze, visualize, automate, and distribute data, all amplified by AI. Domo goes beyond productivity. It's designed to transform your processes, helping you make smarter and faster decisions and drive real growth. All powered by Domo's trust, flexibility, and years of expertise in data and AI innovation. The world's best companies rely on Domo to make smarter decisions. See how Domo can help transform yours. Learn more at ai.domo.com. That's ai.domo.com.
Welcome to Season 5 of the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom, where we talk with enterprise and technology platform leaders about the people, processes, and platforms that make marketing and customer experience successful, scalable, and sustainable. This is what creates an Agile brand. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom, advisor and consultant for Fortune 1000 marketing and CX leaders and teams as principal and chief strategist at GK5A, and best-selling author, keynote speaker, entrepreneur, and Agile certified coach. The Agile Brand podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. To sign up for the Agile Brand newsletter and get the latest insights and articles on marketing technology and CX, or to purchase a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, go to gregkihlstrom.com. You can also find all my books on Amazon and other retailers. And now on to the show. Brands must meet customer expectations for a personalized experience throughout the buyer's journey. One key opportunity to achieve this is by leveraging AI-based tools that offer relevant images and videos. These resources educate customers, manage their expectations, and ultimately drive higher conversion rates while reducing return rates. Today, we're going to talk about enhancing the e-commerce experience using personalization and generative AI. And to do this, we're going to talk about some statistics and some research that was recently done by Cloudinary. To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Paul Thompson, Head of Technical Marketing at Cloudinary. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about this with you. Why don't we get started with you giving a little background on yourself as well as what Cloudinary does?
Sure. So I've been at Cloudinary about 2 years. I came here from Akamai. I've worked there for several years, leading their tech and data marketing team. Prior to that, I had about 10 years experience in advertising and interactive development, e-commerce, a lot of e-commerce development, and some work for major brands. So all in all, I've been in the development space for almost 20 years. And, I really was drawn to Cloudinary as a company that really does excel in image and video delivery. For those of you who don't know Cloudinary, we like to think of ourselves as the image and video platform for the web. We can help store, optimize, transform, and deliver images for major brands and small and medium-sized businesses. Right now, I believe it's over 1 million developers using us across about 10,000 companies. And the chances are at least one of your favorite e-commerce, social media, or news website is using Cloudinary to deliver images and video. Our core product is programmable media, which we'll touch on a bit today. It allows developers to transform and deliver images and videos at scale, typically with the help of some AI tools. We also have digital asset management capabilities with 2 products, Assets, which are really for enterprises, and Nexus, which is our newest offering for small and medium-sized businesses. And again, the focus for all of our tools is really around automating the image and video lifecycle, a lot of times through AI and ML and at scale.
Great. So let's get started here by first talking about the role that images play in e-commerce and the customer experience. So starting with relevance, at a high level, what effect do relevant images have in the e-commerce buyer's experience?
So that's a good question. I think it's, the research shows that in many of our customers that know that visual assets have really an outsized impact on the success of product listings. Studies have shown that having one photo in a product listing doubles the conversion rate, and then having two or more photos will double that conversion rate again. That was a study done by eBay Research Labs. And also, the higher the quality of the images and videos, the more likelihood that a product would be purchased. So essentially, having great media on your e-commerce site is table stakes at this point.
Yeah, yeah. And so, in addition to the conversion rate, some research by Cloudinary showed 27% of customers have abandoned an item already in their cart because of poor image or video quality.
Mhm.
So, in addition to converting in the first place, there's potential cart abandonment. What does this say to you about the importance of images?
Well, I think it's the customer wants to be assured that what they're seeing is what they get. The old "what you see is what you get" saying,
Yeah.
and effectively that the quality of images in video is really vitally important, right? So typically you'll start with a pristine image, you'll store that wherever, but you might compress it, your team may compress it when it's being served to the user, but that user may not that compression may take something away from the images. So you really want to ensure that the image and the video that's being served is as high quality as possible. The flip side to that is, of course, you need your images, you need your media to be very performant, right? So when you're serving these high quality images, if you're not giving any compression, that's going to negatively affect how your web page your core web vitals, right? It's going to make your user experience go down simply because your page is taking longer to load, your images are taking longer to load. So you really need to try to maximize that intersection of quality and optimization, because that's really going to help that give that user a great perspective of your brand. But it's also, as you would see on many studies, if you just go to Google's web dev blog, you'll see there's no shortage of studies that show that a faster, more performant website is likely to convert. But we also know that high quality images can prevent what we talked about, that 30% of returns or 27% of people abandoning their carts. So it's really a fine line between maximizing quality and speed.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, that the 30% returns thing. So, again, from the same
Yeah.
research, we talked about conversion and then, cart abandonment. This is, after the sale has ever happened, 30% responded and said they've returned products because the products didn't match what they saw on the website. So, this is prevalent throughout, and it's, even just getting past the conversion is not enough, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just really about it's a fine line, right? It's just really trying to maximize everything, which is it's a no easy task, right? But there are ways to, I think there are ways to do that, to handle that through proper usage of tools, right?
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what brands need to do to deliver results by enhancing their imagery. And so, you touched on this a little bit and as we were talking already, but just to dive a little deeper in this, what type of image capabilities and platform capabilities do brands need to have to enhance their e-commerce experience in some of the ways we've been discussing?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, just to not to continue to push it, but obviously, the table stakes are the ability to deliver the best format and quality that are based on the device, right? So not everyone's going to be viewing your store with the same device with the same browser. So you want to be able to take advantage of what those browsers can do. So typically, if you think of Chrome, it can handle an AVIF format. So you might want to be able to automatically deliver an AVIF if someone's on a browser that can handle it. That's going to give you maximum compression and high fidelity. And if you can do that programmatically and be able to detect the browser and deliver the right format and quality automatically, like Cloudinary can do, then I think that's going to be a major win. Also, if you're talking about video, particularly in an e-commerce setting where you may have these short form videos, maybe a small looping video that's showing a quick shot of a product, you need those to do, especially if you're doing progressive download, you need those to be in the optimal format too. If you're talking about WebM versus MPEG-4, there's going to be a lot of compression and quality benefits you're going to get from that, right? So you're going to be able to download these videos faster, have them play faster, and again, that's something that Cloudinary can do with automatic detection of devices and automatic format delivery. But it goes beyond that. Optimization is really just one business driver. Customization, personalization, very critical. I think there was a study by McKinsey that said 78% of consumers are more likely to make a repeat purchase from a company that personalizes. Platforms like Cloudinary, typically we're kind of that customization level. So we can take your personalization data and you can use our platform, our APIs to essentially create these personalized experiences, personalized images. For example, maybe creating an image target ad with some text overlays that are localized in a user's language, or even can maybe talk to a user's location. And you can also use it to build these personalized experiences, having a set of media that you can deliver programmatically and automatically based upon the user profile that you may have. And then of course there's things like user generated content. You want to be able to ensure that what a user is uploading is not only safe to use, but also sort of normalized into the right size and format, and also optimize, right? Maybe what they're uploading is not the best quality, but you can use some tools that can maybe ensure that it is. So I think there's a number of things that we can do from an e-commerce perspective, companies like Cloudinary, platforms like Cloudinary, that are really going to make the user experience shine for and do it at scale with programmatic interfaces.
Wouldn't it be great if you could ask your data anything at any time? Like, how are sales this quarter? How's the new marketing campaign performing? What does the overall health of the company look like? And actually get answers right away with charts and graphics and actionable information. You can with Domo's AI and data products platform. Domo lets you channel AI and data quickly, securely, and innovatively to deliver measurable insights wherever and whenever you need them. Anyone on your team can use Domo to easily prepare, analyze, visualize, automate, and distribute data, all amplified by AI. Domo goes beyond productivity. It's designed to transform your processes, helping you make smarter and faster decisions and drive real growth, all powered by Domo's trust, flexibility, and years of expertise in data and AI innovation. The world's best companies rely on Domo to make smarter decisions. See how Domo can help transform yours. Learn more at ai.domo.com. That's ai.domo.com.
Before we continue, I'd like to introduce you to a sponsor of the show, Partner Hero. Customer service outsourcing has long been available mainly to large enterprise businesses with long-term contracts and onerous procurement processes. Partner Hero is challenging business as usual and bringing the benefits of outsourcing to small and medium businesses as well as startups. With short, flexible contracts and fast ramp-up times, Partner Hero is making customer support outsourcing a viable option for small and medium businesses and startups. It's perfect for companies with seasonality expecting a temporary spike in volume or that simply need to scale up. And their focus on quality means your customers will get an experience that feels like it comes from your team. If you're ready to bring in outside customer support help for your company that feels like it's part of your existing team, check out Partner Hero. Head on over to partnerhero.com/agile, that's partnerhero.com/agile, to book a free consultation with their solutions team. Mention you heard about Partner Hero from the Agile brand and they'll waive the setup fee. Now let's get back to the show. So what about the from the content creator standpoint? So those marketing teams, those content teams, what about the workflow that they need to go through to create content that can be personalized? And you talked a bit about the scale after the content's created to personalize and distribute, but what about workflow from the content creation standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, there's with things like transformations, image and video transformations, you upload you get the original file, and then you can create on the fly various renditions of it. You can automatically crop it. If you need to take an image that's a certain size and create maybe thumbnails out of it or gallery images out of it, the workflow is highly optimized because you can do that at scale automatically using programmatic tools like crop to this width, but also with more advanced features like image detection, things like that. You can actually ensure that the focal point is going to be the most compelling part of that image. And there are some pretty advanced use cases that we see at Cloudinary. For example, one of our customers, Minted, will use us to essentially create these. If you think about the type of company that Minted is, they sell things like paintings and posters, things like that, things that you can customize before you check out. So you can go in and you can decide the size, the type of frame, things like that. And typically what would happen if you were doing that, say 10, 15 years ago, you would need to create all of these image sprites for everything, right? And it would take you forever, and you'd have millions and millions and millions of assets that is essentially conform to every possible selection across the inventory. But with Cloudinary and our customization tools, you can actually enhance that workflow to take sort of a master image and then create overlays and things like that are creating these near perfect renditions of what you're going to get, but you're really using layers and things like that to swap out the frame, to do things that would typically require having individual product shots. That just is not going to happen at scale. It's going to increase your storage costs. So there are massive workflow benefits there simply by the ability to customize on the fly, things like that.
Yeah, yeah. And so kind of to that, talk about scale, we've talked about it from a few different aspects, but I definitely, last topic I want to touch on today is AI. It's 2023, so we have to talk about AI in every show. So, and more specifically, generative AI and how it can be used to what we're talking about in the e-commerce process. So, I know there's a lot of things not only in the works. There's a lot of things. There are some features currently available. So I know some of what we're going to talk about is in progress. Some of it is currently available, but
Yep.
I want to talk about the possibilities here. And so one of the key areas where generative AI can play a role in enhancing e-commerce is by streamlining and reducing the workload. Kind of to our previous point,
Yep.
the workload required to support the creation of personalized images. Can you talk a little bit about this? I know we just talked about it in general, but what does AI add to this conversation?
Yeah, well, I think like you had mentioned, it's really just we're kind of at the dawn of this, right? I think there's
Yeah.
it's similar to, if you can remember, if you're old enough like I am to remember, when the internet first started coming around, and everyone just started getting online with America Online and Prodigy and things like that, and
Yeah.
there were all these promises that were there, and I think we're sort of at that step now with generative AI. We're just really scratching the surface, but I think in general where we're at today, if we're talking about enhancing workflows, it really allows production teams to work faster. That's, to me, the core promise. It has a capability to do things with images that would either require some really fine-tuned skill in image editing that very few people possess. You're talking about the real technical, production artists who are going
Yeah.
in and recoloring images or removing objects in a seamless way, and creating, maybe extending an image, doing some outpainting, some clone stamp type tool work, which is extremely hard if you've ever tried to do it. And generative AI is actually able to start to do this. And you've probably all seen the outpainting examples, but it's really just taking these like very difficult skills and almost magically being able to do it. And if we're talking about tools that are rapidly improving. So even if they're not able today to get it to 100% in every single instance, it still is able to get it a good percentage of the way there. So production teams can kind of take that on, and it really does help lighten the load. I think additionally, being able to create new images from originals to serve the needs of customization, like we talked about, is key. It really eliminates the need for expensive reshoots, et cetera. And what I'm talking about there is when we talk about recoloring, right? Say you have a shot of a product, but you don't have variant shots for everything. Typically that would require. Say you have a simple example might be a pair of shoes. that you need to recolor into, from black leather to brown leather. Very difficult unless you are a very skilled production artist. But, we're able to create, with generative AI and recoloring, able to create these variants at scale. And also, just to dive a little deeper into some specifics, you can create images that are really relevant to users, creating, based upon demographics. For example, being able to change the background of an image in an ad or something. And it's really just the ability to create things like helpful images that are going to help people see, really helping to people to experience the products like they maybe haven't done before, like be able to take a background image and recolor it, maybe a paint color, perhaps placing a couch inside a photo of your living room, being able to do things like that. And again, we talk about UGC being able to upload images, et cetera, being able to moderate those images. And again, being able to restore them generatively as opposed to just applying certain filters. So there's a lot of potential there in these specific use cases that we talked about, but also I think in general, just to recap in general, just helping people do things at scale that typically was only reserved for experts. And again, if not getting 100% of the way there, getting it 80% of the way there, so you can kind of take it on and lighten the load.
Yeah, yeah, and as someone who I cut my teeth on early editions of Photoshop, so pre layer Photoshop, and when they only had one level of undo, and stuff like that. So I can appreciate, I think there's two things there. One is it democratizes who gets to be able to work with images and create the content. I think that's really important. It doesn't diminish the skills that more advanced people have, but it does democratize how we're able to create that content. And then to your other point, from the customer perspective, it makes them more relevant and more meaningful because we're able to connect things in a very personalized way. And I think that's really powerful. To add to that, there's an accessibility component to this too. So, in a few different ways, and whether that's, providing captioning for images in an automated way that's of high quality, as well as accessibility from being findable on SEO or even an internal search engine on e-commerce or something. Can you talk a little bit more about this and, some of the opportunities there?
Yeah, I think when we talk a lot about what we've talked about a lot is generative image editing, things like that. But I think, when we talk about, the promise of the large language models, right? If you think maybe of image to text, right? You said accessibility. I think that's very important. Technical SEO is important. So, if you have an image or you have a set of images that need some form of taxonomy beyond just the tagging, right? Being able to contextually describe an image, which is very vital for SEO, but also for accessibility. That's critically important. You might have users with certain disabilities that need these alt tags to really function on a website, and with things like large language models and the ability to understand what an image is and then actually put it into a contextual description, that's a game changer, right? Because if you don't have experts, like we talked about in the last question, maybe you have a small team, it's hard to do this stuff at scale. So being able to create these alt tags is critically important for technical SEO, but also accessibility. Could even maybe go as far as say that in the accessibility side of things, could use slight recoloring to help with colorblind accessibility. So there's a lot there that can be done with large language models, et cetera. And I think obviously one of the big things that we see is that one of the big promises we see, not just in e-commerce, but really across the board, is that the idea of like more intelligent chat, things that are going to help people use your product, going to be able to find the right things, like very, 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 deterministic sort of search results that are very intelligent and understand exactly what someone's looking for. So there's a huge promise there. And I do think that, as we get into, multi-models and things like that, and these things get more sophisticated in the next couple of years, it's just going to be ingrained into the user experience.
Yeah. So we've touched on quite a bit with AI and generative in particular. Is there anything else we didn't touch on yet, or what are you most excited about when it comes to these possibilities of AI?
Yeah, I think again, it's really it feels like we're at the sort of sea change in what's happening in
Yeah.
tech, and it's going to be it's going to look a lot different in 5 years. But I do think we talk about like visual personalization. We talk about a lot. We have one of our AI features is generative replace, extremely powerful. It's able to switch out. If we have a model right who's wearing a sweatshirt, we can say, can we change that model to wear a suit coat? It happens pretty seamlessly. The results are great, but it's a suit coat it's sort of like a generic suit coat. It does serve the purpose of changing the look of the model, but what about being able to in the midterm, in the middle, like sort of middle term, being able to introduce a set of products, right, and being able to actually use that as your output. So that's a sort
Yeah.
of I think the sort of personalization brands are going to get, being able to tailor a look and feel using very specific models. So I think it's going to be very you're going to see a lot of great personalization, a lot of like things around maybe personal shoppers that are AI chatbots. And again, this is all hinging on these continued enhancements that that are going to happen. Just all the movement that's happening in this industry, it's going to start to happen pretty quickly, I think, and you're really going to see this start to be ingrained in the buyer's experience. And I think you're just going to see things outside of AI. You might start to see things like really powerful augmented reality tools, like maybe something that's a combination of 3D AR and AI, where you're able to essentially render what looks like your living room with the products inside. So that might be a little further down the road, but I still think that's something that's coming, because that's another technology that's improving rapidly is the AR space.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, Paul, thanks so much for joining. One last question before we wrap up here. So you've given a lot of great advice already. We've covered a lot of ground here, but what's one next best action that you'd recommend for those that are listening that they know they need to improve their e-commerce experience and most likely their imagery? What's one thing they should do?
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to, they need to really embrace utilizing images and videos on their stores and their websites. I think they should definitely check out Cloudinary, because we have a full suite of products and features that are going to be able to really get you going quickly in terms of that optimization, getting the highest quality images for the proper device that a user is using. So we can do that all at scale. So I would say best thing you can do is really look into look into optimization, and just really start to try and get more image and video in your e-commerce experience.
Great, great. Love it. Well, again, I'd like to thank Paul Thompson, head of technical marketing at Cloudinary, for joining the show. You can learn more about Paul and Cloudinary by following the links in the show notes. Thanks again for listening to the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom podcast, brought to you by Tech Systems. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe on your podcast channel of choice and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes of the show at www.gregkihlstrom.com. That's GregKihlstrom.com. To get a copy of my latest book, House of the Customer, visit my website, or you can find it on Amazon or other retailers. The Agile Brand is produced by Missing Link, a Latina-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, they craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Until next time, stay agile.